Hello, Josh.
Hello.
It's great to have your voice on the radio. We were meant to speak to Tyler, but obviously that's not happening. He's got a throat infection.
Yeah, you know what? We had to, for the first time ever, we had to cancel a show last night because he literally can't even talk right now. So it's he's just kind of in healing process right now. So you're gonna have to just deal with me today.
I was so glad. You know what? I always said it was a blessing in disguise that he got this story because I wanted to talk to you. I'm like, give me the drummer, give me Josh. Josh is a legend. I love Josh. I don't want to chat to Tyler. You kidding? Lead singer. It's too obvious.
Yeah. See. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's too obvious. Everyone's expecting that.
What's going on, man? What's happening? I missed you while you were here in Oz. Obviously, sold out shows across the country, which is exciting. Moved over to Asia now, and are you missing the country already?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Australia is one of our favorite places to go ever, and I tell people too. The first time we went there, Tyler's a guy I personally love. I love kind of like traveling and like being nomadic and walking around and stuff.
Yeah.
Tyler's the kind of guy who like he would never leave his house if he had the option. He just kind of likes to just chill.
He's an introvert.
But he a little bit, but
nature,
you know, but in a good, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, of course.
But when we came to Australia, he was like, you know, I could move here, or at least like spend a long vacation. And to me, that was a big deal. I was like, wow, that's like, Australia has a big impact on Tyler if that's something he's going to say about the country. So
yeah, that's huge for a guy who doesn't want to leave his own house. Yeah, thank you. We'll take it. We'll wear that.
Yeah, you should. You should be proud of that.
Now, I first heard about you guys when car radio came out. I got sent this link on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to check this out. And I was blown away by the power of the music video, and then the power of seeing the live performance from you guys. And I've kind of been a fan of you guys since then. What did that song? Did you find that song really kind of popularized your band to a much larger commercial audience?
Oh man! Well, first of all, thank you. That's cool. It's always cool to hear an origin of like how somebody hears of our band. So that's really cool. You know, I think so. I have a hard time sometimes kind of pinpointing what it is that kind of draws people to our music, or you know, whether it's a certain video or if it's kind of like a song that's on the radio, or even like. Sometimes, you know, people will tell me like, oh, I didn't know who you were, but somebody told me to like follow you guys on Twitter, and now I'm like a fan. And it's like, it's weird how like, you know, somebody can be introduced to a certain band or music or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that video in particular, that's one that I think that we're probably, you know, that's I think one of them that we're the most proud of. And I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting. We also just played in Japan with a band called One OK Rock.
Yeah.
Who's actually like the biggest band in Japan right now. They're selling out arenas all over the place. And the lead singer, we met him about a year ago, and he was like, yeah, I saw your video car radio in like some kind of clothing store or something. And he was like, I was a fan from there and wanted to, you know, play music with you guys and stuff. So it's, you know, it's always crazy to hear those kind of stories.
The interesting thing that I see when, you know, we tweet about your band coming on the show this week, and I'm like, the amazing response of also from seeing your show was that you've got, I mean, for a band that makes rock music, right? And you guys make great rock music, and there's, of course, a little pop element to it, but for me, it's more rock. You have a young teenage female fan base. That would have to be the majority of the people who are buying the albums and seeing you at your shows. Was that surprising when kind of you started doing these gigs and these young, influential teens, females that come into your gigs?
Yeah, you know, I think so. I'm always thankful for anybody who likes the music, who will latch on to it. And I remember when we started out, I remember looking at kind of like the Facebook page analytics, and we were kind of like, you know, we were kind of like a little surprised by by kind of like what it was showing, at least for, you know, people who were kind of who added the band on Facebook or who kind of interacted on Facebook. And it was actually, you know, when we first started out, it was actually kind of like college age guys was the majority of the fans.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's shifted a little bit. But what I've noticed is that I think that some of the content and some of the lyrics are it's all written by us, and it's all kind of based off of stuff that that we're going through, or we're thinking about, or things that have happened in our lives. And what's cool is to see the kind of people that resonate with those kind of songs. And I don't know, it's interesting, and that kind of and it's also interesting how that can kind of shift sometimes too. So I don't know, it's weird.
It is. Well, let's get some people on the air who have definitely heard it on the air for the first time, just then with us. Emily in Brisbane, Tearing My Heart, the new song from 21 Pilots. What do you think?
Literally my favourite song off their new album. It is so good. They're just so talented. I love them so much.
Well, you're on the air with Josh, so that's a good way to introduce yourself. Good icebreaker, Dal.
Good. I'm glad that I kind of fangirled. Hi.
Have you got a question?
I do.
Do you have a question?
Obviously, I do. Like, my favourite thing about 21 Pilots is obviously how individual their music is. And I would just love to know who inspires you guys musically.
That's a really good question, and it's a tough one to answer, because I think honestly there's so many different influences, and some are musical and some aren't musical. For example, my dad is an influence to me, and or even just kind of like other close friends. But I'd say growing up, I listened to so many different kinds of music and different bands, and from kind of like very old punk rock to hip hop to pop to electronic. And one thing that I always kind of, especially when I started getting into playing music, one thing that I always tried to really be intentional about was listening to music that I sometimes didn't even really want to listen to or love. And I would just go to the local record store, and I'd find kind of like the most tattooed guy and just be like, hey, what do you recommend this week? And I could only afford one CD a week, but I'd just be like, what do you recommend? And he'd give me something different every time. And I would kind of take something from each thing, I think, and try and play drums along with it, or try and learn something different from it. And I don't know. Yeah, I think there are honestly too many artists to even name as an influence.
Nice. Hey, Emily, thanks so much for getting on the air with us tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Emily.
All right,
Yeah, good talking to you.
Who knows, Josh from 21 Pilots, if Amy's going to be supportive of your music. She might have just heard that song and just gone, nah, hated it. Let's find out. Let's be honest, she's probably not. Hey, Amy, you're on the air with Josh from 21 Pilots.
Hey.
What did you think of the
Amy.
song, Tearing My Heart?
I love it. It's awesome. Of course I love it.
Nice. You got a question for Josh while we're here?
Oh, Amy.
Well, I actually watched your set from Bonnaroo last night, and I was wondering
cool.
what your favourite part of the set was.
Oh, from Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
I will say I think, and this would apply for a lot of shows. I think walking out on stage, playing the first song of that set was a song called "Heavy Dirty Soul." There's this kind of weird, and this gets a little bit deeper, but kind of going even along with kind of the whole idea of blurry face and kind of this idea of insecurities a little bit. Walking out on stage for me every time is this kind of weird thing where it's you kind of have to take the stage with authority and command it and appear to be cool and collected. But a lot of times that's the most nerve-wracking part for me, is kind of first walking out there, because you haven't proved anything at that point, and you haven't shown anybody what you can do, or and at that point it's all just expectations. But there's something about that I love, and so I think that first song is always like kind of the most challenging for me, to try and make sure that we're trying to win people over and try and exceed expectations. And I always love that, and I love playing that song too. So I would say it's the first song for me.
Nice one. Thanks, Amy.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
No, more than welcome. Hey, pass on our love to Tyler, who's got the sore throat. Fingers crossed it's not like a hemorrhage in the vocal cords. That seems to be the popular trend of singers at the moment.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, he's gone to a couple different hospitals. They say it's a viral infection,
Okay.
and to just not talk for 2 or 3 days. So, I think he'll pull through pretty soon.
Nice.
But yeah, I will. I'll tell him you say to get well soon. And sorry he couldn't be here today.
Well, we loved playing this song for the first time. Fingers crossed it makes Shazam Top 20 Countdown, or at least, you've been such a great person to chat to. Your influence will get people behind the band. Josh from 21 Pilots, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.